Her voice, small and hesitant at first, gradually gained strength as she poured out her heart to her mother. She spoke of friendships lost and dreams shattered, of the confusion and pain that come with growing up. And through it all, Sarah listened. She listened with her heart, her silence speaking volumes. She didn't interrupt with platitudes or offer unsolicited advice. She simply listened, her eyes reflecting Mary's pain as if it were her own, her silence a testament to the depth of her love and understanding. For Sarah knew that sometimes the greatest gift we can offer another is not our words, but our presence, our willingness to simply be present with them in their pain, to hold space for their suffering without judgment or expectation. And in that shared silence, a bond was forged, a connection deeper than words could ever express. As the night wore on and Mary's words tumbled out in a torrent of emotion, Sarah offered words of comfort and wisdom. She spoke of the cyclical nature of life, of the ebb and flow of joy and sorrow, of the importance of resilience and the healing power of time. She shared stories of her own experiences, of times when she had faced adversity and emerged stronger, her spirit unbroken. And slowly, as the night gave way to the first light of dawn, Mary's tears subsided, replaced by a glimmer of hope in her eyes. The weight of her unspoken words had been lifted, replaced by the comforting knowledge that she was not alone, that her mother understood, and that together they would find a way through the darkness. And as the sun rose, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, Sarah knew that their bond had been strengthened, their love deepened by the shared experience of listening and being heard. Life in their humble home continued. There were still challenges to be faced, obstacles to be overcome. But Sarah had imparted a valuable lesson to her daughter that night, a lesson that transcended words and spoke to the very core of their being. She had taught Mary the enduring power of listening, the transformative nature of true empathy. She had shown her that sometimes the greatest gift we can offer another is simply our presence, our willingness to listen without judgment and love without reservation. And in that gift, Mary discovered a strength she never knew she possessed, a resilience that would carry her through life's inevitable storms. For she knew that no matter what life threw her way, she could always count on her mother's listening ears, her open heart, and her unwavering love. Winter had come. A blanket of snow covered their small town, the silence broken only by the crunch of footsteps. Inside their humble home, a fire crackled, casting flickering shadows, but the warmth did little to dispel the chill in Sarah's heart. The cupboard stood starkly vacant. Winter's grip had made it difficult to find work, and their food had dwindled to nothing. Her children, pale with hunger, huddled closer to the fire. Sarah, her heart aching, fought back tears. She had always shielded them, her optimism a beacon of hope. But tonight, the weight of their situation pressed down on her, threatening to extinguish her spirit. Yet even as despair loomed, Sarah clung to hope. She would find a way to provide for her children. Their well-being was her purpose, their happiness her driving force. She would not let them down. Nightfall brought with it a biting wind that howled like a hungry beast. Sarah tucked her children into their beds, their small bodies shivering beneath the thin blankets. As she kissed their foreheads, their faces pale and drawn, a silent promise formed in her heart. She would find a way. Leaving her children sleeping soundly, Sarah bundled herself in her worn shawl, the only protection she had against the bitter cold. The moon, a sliver of silver in the inky sky, cast long, eerie shadows as she made her way through the deserted streets. Her destination was the bakery on the edge of town, its windows dark, its ovens long since grown cold. Sarah knew the baker, a kind man with a heart as big as his sourdough loaves, often left unsold bread out back for those less fortunate. It was a long shot, a desperate plea whispered into the icy wind, but it was all Sarah had. Her steps, heavy with fatigue and worry, quickened as she approached the bakery, her heart pounding in her chest. Reaching the back of the bakery, Sarah's heart sank. The usually overflowing bin, a beacon of hope for the town's less fortunate, was empty. The icy wind seemed to mock her with its hollow laughter, and for a moment despair threatened to overwhelm her. But as she turned to leave, her gaze fell upon a small brown paper bag tucked discreetly behind the bin. Her heart leaped with a mixture of hope and disbelief as she reached for the bag, her cold fingers trembling with anticipation. Inside, she found a loaf of bread, still warm from the oven, and a small block of cheese, carefully wrapped in wax paper. Tears, hot and wet, streamed down Sarah's face as she clutched the bag to her chest, her heart overflowing with gratitude. It wasn't much, but it was enough. Enough to nourish her children's bodies and, more importantly, enough to remind her that even in the darkest of times, kindness and compassion could still be found. The baker, a silent guardian angel, had unknowingly offered them a lifeline, a testament to the enduring power of human kindness. Hurrying back home, Sarah's heart felt lighter than it had in days. The bread, tucked safely beneath her shawl, warmed her not only with its heat, but with the knowledge that her children would eat tonight. The world, so bleak and unforgiving only moments before, now seemed filled with possibility. Reaching their small home, she wasted no time in building up the fire and preparing a simple meal. The aroma of freshly baked bread filled the air, chasing away the lingering scent of despair. Her children, awakened by the warmth and the promise of food, emerged from their makeshift beds, their eyes widening with surprise and delight. That night, as they gathered around the table, their faces illuminated by the flickering candlelight, Sarah witnessed a profound truth. It wasn't the grand gestures, the extravagant displays of wealth and generosity that truly mattered. It was the small acts of kindness, the selfless sacrifices made out of love that had the power to transform lives. The baker's simple act of charity had not only filled their stomachs, but had nourished their souls, reminding them that even in the face of adversity, they were not alone. As the years passed, Sarah's children never forgot the lessons learned during that harsh winter. They carried with them the memory of their mother's unwavering love, her quiet strength, and her unwavering belief in the goodness of humanity. They learned that true wealth wasn't measured in material possessions, but in the richness of relationships, the warmth of shared experiences, and the enduring power of love. And they, in turn, strive to live their lives with the same quiet dignity, compassion, and unwavering generosity that their mother had shown them. Sarah, her hair now streaked with silver, her face etched with the passage of time, watched her children with a heart overflowing with pride. She had given them all she had, not in material wealth, but in the invaluable currency of love, empathy, and resilience. And in their eyes, she saw her legacy reflected back at her, a legacy woven not in gold or silver, but in the enduring threads of kindness, selflessness, and love. The days grew shorter, mimicking the dwindling hope in young Thomas's heart. He was Sarah's youngest, once brimming with laughter, now shrouded in silence. His boundless energy had waned, replaced by listlessness. He wandered through their home, a ghost in his own life. Sarah felt the shift, a storm brewing beneath his quiet exterior. She knew words would be met with silence, so she waited, armed with infinite patience. She continued her routines, searching for the key to unlock his silence. She knew beneath his pain lay a spark waiting to be rekindled. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of bruised orange and deep purple, Sarah found Thomas by the old oak tree at the edge of their yard. It was their place, a sanctuary where secrets were shared and dreams were woven under the watchful gaze of the ancient oak. He sat with his back against the rough bark, his knees drawn to his chest, his gaze fixed on some distant point beyond the horizon. Sarah approached him silently, her steps light on the dew-kissed grass, her presence a gentle breeze rather than a raging storm. She sat beside him, her silence speaking volumes in the space between them. No words were exchanged, no explanations demanded. She simply offered him her presence, a warm embrace against the chill of his loneliness. As the twilight deepened, painting the world in shades of grey, Sarah pulled out her mending, her needle moving rhythmically through the worn fabric of Thomas's shirt. It was a gesture that spoke of healing, of mending not just cloth, but also the frayed edges of a young heart. The silence stretched between them, no longer a barrier, but a bridge. Thomas felt the warmth of his mother's presence, the rhythm of her needle pulling thread through fabric. He knew she understood without words. Her silence held no judgment, only love. Beneath the old oak tree, a healing balm began to soothe his spirit. As the moon replaced the sun, casting long, silvery fingers through the leaves of the old oak tree, Thomas began to speak. His words, hesitant at first, tumbled out in a torrent of emotion, a mixture of confusion, hurt, and a longing for something he couldn't quite articulate. He spoke of friendships that felt strained, of dreams that seemed increasingly out of reach, of the overwhelming feeling that he was alone in a world that seemed to spin faster than he could keep up. And through it all, Sarah listened. Her ears, attuned to the whispers of his heart, absorbed his words, not as a judge or a problem solver, but as a witness to his pain. She offered no platitudes, no empty reassurances, only the unwavering presence of her love, a safe harbor in the storm of his adolescence.